Man, today I'm on a roll! Hey guys, what's up? I'm Jody with Board Game Perspective. Today we're taking a look at a game published by Grey Fox Games and designed by J.B. Howell. Now this is Reavers of Midgard. This has elements of worker placement, set collection, dice combat, and engine building. And so in this game you are the master of your own longship, where you have some help with your crew members, and you are trying to gain the most glory and become the most renowned Reaver in all of Midgard. So, let's see how this game plays. So obviously there's a lot of components to this game. So let's go over how to set up this game in detail. So first, this board is double-sided. So I have this out for the 2-player, but on the other side is a 3 to 4 player game. The round tracker is in the top central spot of the board, and you'll place the round track marker on round 1. Next, you will choose who will be the start player and give that player the start player token, and you can choose this randomly. So we'll say this player is the start player. Next, you'll make sure each player has their own player board. Each player is going to get 1 favor token to start, also 1 longship and 1 score tracker of their color, and the score tracker is just obviously going to keep score, and this will go on the board. Now in a 2-player game though, each player will take 2 longships of their color, but in a 3 to 4 player game, you will only have 1 longship. Now in a 3-player game, the start player will also take this honorship token, which basically functions as an extra longship pawn for the player controlling it. But we will be setting this game up for a 2-player game, so each player will have 2 of their longship pawns. Next, the start player will take 4 food tokens, and then the second player will take 5, the third player 6, and the fourth player 7. Next, each player receives 2 Reavers cards, which look like these here, and then each player is going to grab the dice in the upper left-hand corner. So we got 2 yellow and 2 blue. Now each player is going to roll those dice, and then you will put those dice on the available spots here on your longship. And then each player will decide whether to rally, specialize, or promote these Reavers according to the Recruit Reavers action, which we will go over into more detail later in the game. So there are a lot of different types of cards in this game. So you're going to shuffle each deck and put them in their corresponding spots. So first we got the Reavers cards, so they go here. And then in a 3 to 4 player game, there will be some other spots. But for this 2-player game, we have 2 spots available. Now you're going to grab a couple Reavers cards from the top, and then you're going to place 1 vertically and the other horizontally, to where each of the top and the bottom of each card is visible, because that is the relevant information. And then you'll have 2 piles of those. Next, let's go to the trade with villages area. So we've got the purple cards, which are the prophecy cards. You're going to shuffle those cards, and then you will put out 3 cards there. And then we have spots here for crew dice of different colors. So what you're going to do is you're going to get 2 of each of these colors. You're going to roll them all, and then you're going to place them in those corresponding spots right there. Next is the raid villages area. So you're going to get these ship upgrade tokens and place them in the corresponding piles here. And then you have the card deck, which you'll shuffle, and then you'll place out sets of 2 according to how many players. So for this 2-player game, we have 2 sets, and you can see that each set is linked together on this board. Now we are at the Battle at Sea location, where you will put the Sea Journey cards of the small deck right here, and then you will have the Sea Battle cards here, and you will place out a battle card depending on how many players you have. In the Raid Keeps area, you will place the Raid Keeps cards in a pile, and just like the Raid Villages, you will have sets according to how many players you have, and each set is linked together also. Lastly, we have the Subdue Territories location, where you will sort all the territory tiles by color and number, and you will shuffle them, and then you will place them on each corresponding location. So there's 3 of each color. Then the last step is putting all of the resources and dice out. So we have all the different kinds of crew dice here. We have favor tokens, the food, we have the tower tokens, farm, wall tokens, and terror tokens. Once all that's out, you are ready to start playing. So this game is played over 6 rounds, and after the 6th round is over, then all the players will total up their score and see who has the most glory, and whoever has the most glory is going to be the winner. So each round is going to consist of every player placing all of their longships out on the board to claim an action. Whoever has the start player marker places their longship pawn on action location first, so let's just say this player will take and put their longship there. Now after that, each player is going to immediately activate any effects of Reaver cards they have specialized with that action. So we'll go over this more in detail, but that's just simply going to be activating these corresponding cards with the corresponding action locations taken. After activating the effects of the Reavers that are specialized, each player may activate the effect of the action location selected. Beginning with the active player and then continue clockwise, each player may pay the cost to take this action. If the player does not want to pay the cost to take the action, they may instead rest. After each player has resolved this action, then the next player in the clockwise order will place their longship on a different location, so let's just say that one, and then you will do the same order until everyone's longships have been placed out. So the round will end then once 4 action locations have been activated by longship pawns. So that means in a 2-player game, each player will place 2 of their longships on the actions to equal 4 action locations selected. In a 3-player game, each player will place 1 of their longship pawns on a location, and then the player that has the ownership will place this on an additional action location, totaling 4 action locations selected. In addition, each player has the potential to get bonuses whenever action locations are selected. Now these action locations have different color banners. So what the red color banners mean is these provide an effect and also an additional bonus depending on player order, and the bonuses are listed below the effect that you could possibly get. Now the blue locations provide an effect that may be repeated a certain number of times depending on the player order, and the number of times is also notated in the player order down below the effect here. The black part of these banners are the costs in order to take the action. So here you'd have to turn in 4 food to do this. Now these have, the black space has nothing, so there's no cost, and there's other scenarios as well. So as mentioned earlier, each player can possibly get a bonus whenever an action is selected. So say this action were selected, the active player can get this bonus here because they are the first, meaning the active player, and then in turn order, if there are any bonuses available, those can be taken by those players as well. So for instance, the second player in turn order from the active player, this lists nothing, so this player will not get a player bonus. Now in a 3 to 4 player game, there's going to be 4 spots here that show you what the player bonuses might be. So for these blue areas, when this action is selected, this means that the active player can perform this action location 3 times, and then the second player in turn order can perform the action 1 time. So in a 3 to 4 player game, there will also be how many times they can perform the action as well. Again, the player who is selecting the action location is considered the active player. Now, if a player cannot or does not want to pay the cost to take the effect of this action location, they can instead take 2 food from the supply, or they could take 1 crew die of their color. So let's just say this player would want to take red, and they can put it on whatever face of the die they want, and they will put that on the player board. Now let's go over all the action locations in detail, starting with the Recruit Reavers action location. So starting with the active player, you will choose 2 Reavers cards. Now you will choose a set from here or 2 cards from the top of the deck. And also the active player will get a bonus of 2 favor tokens, and then the other players get nothing. So let's say the active player wants to take these 2 cards here. So what you do next is you're going to grab the dice in the upper left hand corner. So these cards show 1 yellow dice and 1 blue dice. So you're going to take those and you're going to roll them, and then you will place them on any empty spots you have on your longship. After collecting the dice, you now have to choose for each card what you're going to do with it. And the options are Rally, Specialize, and Promote. So let's go over Rally. So say we want to do Rally for this card. What you're going to do is you're going to grab the dice in the upper right hand corner. So this shows 2 yellow die, and that is pretty much like a wild symbol. So what you can do is put it to any face you want and put those 2 dice in your longship. After you use that card for Rally, you're going to put this in your discard pile. This is your own personal discard pile that you're going to put down on the side of your player area, face down, and these will be used to help tallying your glory at the end of the game. Now let's go over Specialize. So let's say we want to specialize this card. So what you're going to do now is there are 4 locations right here on the bottom of your player board. Now you're going to choose which, and these correspond with action locations. So this says Subdue Territories, Battle at Sea, Raid Keeps, Raid Villages. So you're going to choose which location you want to put this at, and you're going to slide it under so that the bottom of the card is visible. So in the future, when this action location is selected, you can use this ability down here at the bottom of the card. Now you can only have a maximum of 3 specialized cards per slot here. If all of these action spaces are full, then future Reaver cards you acquire have to be rallied or promoted. There can be no more specialized. Now the last thing you can do with your Reaver card is promote. Now there is a spot on each player board where you will place this card, and this is your leader card. So what you will do is you will just simply place this card in that location, and then you will see there is a bonus that corresponds to which clan you have on your card. So for here we have a blue clan icon, and so that means we can get this bonus of getting 4 food. And then if it was a red card, you would have gotten this bonus, a yellow card, 2 favor tokens, and so on. Now, when you want to go promote, if there happens to already be a leader card out there, what you do is you're just simply going to take the card that's already out there and add this to your glory pile, where you just discard your card face down, and now you will just put that card out. In addition to providing an immediate bonus, promoting a Reaver to a leader allows you to use any dice showing your leader's clan icon as a shield, chest, ship, or a single hammer icon. And there's a reference on your player board. So on this player board here, we have 2 blue dice that show the blue leader icon. So these can be a wild and in essence become one of those 4 other symbols. The next location is Trade with Villages. Now this location does not have a cost to activate. Now there's a bunch of different rewards here. So we got favor tokens, food, 2 dice you can pick from the selection, and a purple prophecy card. Now the active player can take this effect 3 times, and then the second player can take it 1 time, and then in 3 and 4 player game it's going to be different. If the player with the start player marker selects this action location, they must pass this start player marker to the next player clockwise. Now, if you are allowed to take this effect multiple times, you are allowed to choose the same reward multiple times. So this active player can do this 3 times, so this person could say get 2 favor tokens 3 times, and etc. Now, if you were to choose the reward of 2 dice, you can take any 2 dice out here, but you have to keep the face the same. So I would take this dice, keep this the same, and put this on my player board. Lastly, you can take a prophecy card. There's 3 available, and you can take one out here or take one from the top of the deck. And these are kind of like end of the game objectives to get points. The next location is Battle at Sea. If you were to choose this location, you have to pay 4 food in order to attempt to win a sea battle. Now the active player also gets a bonus of 2 glory, and then any other player, even in a 3 and 4 player game, do not receive a bonus for taking this effect. So if you were to take this action, you first have to resolve a sea journey card, which is this deck right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip one over, and then you're going to read what it says. So this is a spoiled food. So what you can do is you either suffer this effect here, or you can pay the cost in the upper right hand corner to ignore that effect. So this card says discard 2 food, or you could pay the cost here, which is any color die of a chest symbol, to ignore that effect. After you resolve the Sea Journey card, you can now move on to the Sea Battle cards, where you can do one of these cards that are out or one at random from the top. And there are 2 ways that you can defeat a Sea Battle card. One is through combat, and the other option is turning in the specified crew dice that are shown on the card. So anytime you see a white dice, that means any color, but there are certain faces on these dice that you have to match. So if I were to turn in these 3 dice to the supply, I could have defeated this card. After you defeated the card, there are bonuses on the bottom here that you can get. So if we defeated this card, we would get 11 glory, and we would also get a keep spoils card to add to our player board. Now in order to do the combat, you have to get at least 3 hits to defeat this card. So how you do combat is on your player board, you grab any of your crew dice that have a single or double hammer, and you can use however many you want. And let's just say I want to use these 2 right here, so that is going to be 3 hammers. So these will go back to the supply, and then you're going to grab 3 of these combat dice, which are the black dice. You're going to grab 3 of those because you turned in 3 hammers. So once you collect your combat dice, which show 0 to 2 successes, so 0, 1, and 2, you're going to roll them and see how many you got. So for instance, I rolled this and it was not a good roll. I only have 1 hit here. So what I could do is I could turn in a favor token to the supply in order to re-roll whichever dice I want. So let's say I'll keep this one, and I'm going to re-roll these 2 here. Well, that was another bad roll. So I've got that one. Let's say now I could go ahead and turn in yet another favor token to re-roll this, or both, or all of them, whatever you want. So I'll just go ahead and re-roll both of these and see if I can get 3. All right, so there I've got plenty of hits, so I would have defeated that monster. Next is the raid villages. If you were to choose this location, you have to pay 1 food and 2 dice with the chest symbol in order to take this action. So what you'll do is you'll take 2 village spoils cards that are linked together. So you can take this set, or 2 from the top. And then the active player also gets a bonus of drawing 2 more of these village spoils cards from the top. And then in this 2-player game, the second player does not get a bonus. Now let's go over some of these village spoils cards, starting with the artifact cards. Now these are a way to get more glory for the end of the game, but these also provide a space for storing additional dice, notated by the middle there, and have effects that can be activated by discarding the die stored on them, and the effect is listed on the bottom there. Now you may only store the die indicated, and may not store a die showing a clan icon as a wild. Now you will put these artifact cards around your board. There are 4 locations where you can store artifact cards. Now let's go over ship upgrade cards. Now this is, you can choose this or this. So you can grab one of these ship upgrade tokens matching this symbol there. So we would take this one, or we could get 3 glory. Now these ship upgrade tokens show an icon that normally appears on crew dice and may be activated once per turn, as though you were spinning a crew die with one of these icons. Now you will store these ship upgrade tokens on the top of your player board. And here are some other cards that you might come across. Anytime that you see a vertical line, that means you definitely take the bonus on the left side, and then you can do the one on the right if you want. Now a slash means it's going to be either or. So for this farm here, you're going to grab 3 food, and then if you want, you can also grab another food, a farm token, which are these in the supply, and a terror token, which are these. Now, the reason why you might not want to do this is because however many terror tokens might be negative points at the end of the game. Now for the village wall, you will take these 2 favor tokens on the left side, and then if you want, you can take a favor token, a wall token, and a terror token. Now the wall tokens look like these, and they were in the supply. Now for axes and spears card, you can take 2 of these color crew dice, so these, and then you would roll those and put them on your player board. Or you can take 5 glory and a terror token. Now for those runic carvings down here, you can discard 1 terror token that you have and make sure another player gains 1 terror token. Or you can grab or take 10 glory and grab 2 terror tokens. Now the next location is raid keeps. So if you want to take this action here, you have to turn in 2 food and 2 dice with the corresponding symbol. Now once you pay the cost, you'll then grab a linked set of keep spoils cards. So you can take this set here, or 2 from the top at random. Now the active player gets a bonus of grabbing 2 more keep spoils cards from the deck, and in the 2-player game, the second player does not get a bonus. So let's go over some of these cards here. So some of these cards give you resources right now, and some of them give you a way to score points at the end of the game through set collection. So for instance, this treasure card, at the end of the game, if I were to have 1 treasure card in my glory pile, I would get 2 points for it. But if I had 4 treasure cards, I would get 16 points. Now for this tapestry cards, there are 3 different colors. Let's see, we got yellow, blue, and red. So if you have 1 of each color, it's going to give you 15 points at the end of the game. And if you have 1 or 2, it's going to be different amounts of points. So for this tower card, you can grab these 2 color dice and roll them and put them on your player board. And then if you want, you can attempt or do combat, kind of like what we did earlier in the sea battle cards, where if you can get at least 3 hits, then you can take 3 glory and a tower token. Now this keep wall card, you'll take these favor tokens, and then same thing, you can choose to do combat if you want, and if you defeat it, then you can get these resources as well. The last location is Subdue Territories. So if you choose this has a variable cost in order to take this action. Now the active player can subdue territories 3 times, and in this 2-player game, the second player can do the subdue territories action 1 time. So let's say we are the active player and we can do this 3 times. So what you're going to do is you have 2 options. You can subdue these territories by force or peacefully subdue. So what you'll do is you'll choose which one you want to subdue first. So let's just say we want to do this one. So we can choose whether or not we want to do by force or peacefully. So if we did it by force, we would have to do combat and try to get 2 hits. And combat is done the exact same way as we mentioned earlier for the raid keeps action location and battle at sea, where you turn in your dice, grab battle dice, and roll, etc. Now if you want to peacefully subdue, you just simply have to turn in these 2 resources. So for this, 2 food, and then you would grab this token and keep it face down, and you will do the next one. Once you've subdued all the territories you can, then you will flip them all over, and you will grab the resources or the bonuses that list on the back side. So there's a bunch of stuff here that you would get. Then you would gather these up and put them in a pile next to your player board, because during the cleanup phase, you will score 1 glory for each territory you have subdued so far. So at the end of each round, you have a cleanup phase. So first what you'll do is you'll move the round marker up to the next round. And if you have if you're on round 6, then you'll proceed to final scoring. So we just moved up from round 1 to round 2. And then what you're gonna do is each player will get 1 glory for each territory tile that they had subdued. And then you're gonna clear any dice from the trade with villages location, and you're gonna replace them. So you're just gonna grab some more dice and roll them and put them in the corresponding locations. And then you're gonna discard any remaining face-up cards all over the board, and then you're gonna put them in the discard pile and then replace them from the corresponding decks. So if you just finished round 6, then you will proceed to final scoring. Now the rulebook has a nice page here where it kind of gives you the breakdown of how you're gonna do final scoring. So first, you're gonna start with your terror tokens. So each player will see how many terror tokens they have, and then they will lose that amount of points depending on how many terror tokens. So for instance, if a player had 5 terror tokens, they would lose 15 glory. Next, each player will gather up all their artifact cards that they had gotten, and you will total how much glory is on these cards. Then you would do the keep spoils cards, where you're gonna sort the cards based on their set and gain the glory according to the size of each set. So we went over this earlier where we talked about the different treasure cards and they have the tapestry cards. So you're just gonna go through those keep spoil cards and figure out how many points you get. Next, each player will total how many different wall tokens they have, tower tokens, and farm tokens. And then we'll figure out how many points they get depending on this table here. So if a player had gotten, let's say, 4 farm tokens, then each of those tokens would be 2 glory each. And if they also got 1 wall token, that would be 2 glory each. And let's say they got a lot of tower tokens and they got 6. Then each of those tower tokens would be 5 glory each. And on top of that, there are also majority bonuses. So if you had the most of each type of token, you'll get some extra points. So if you had the most farm tokens compared to everyone else, you would get an extra 3 glory. And if you had the most wall tokens, you get an extra 4, and the most tower tokens, you would get an extra 5 glory. Then you're gonna get glory for your different prophecy cards, and these are the purple cards, which are like the game end objective cards. So for instance, this card here, I would get 1 glory. For each farm token I would have, so let's say I had 5 farm tokens, that's gonna give me 5 glory. This one is 1 glory for each prophecy card you have. So let's just say I had these 2 prophecy cards, so this card would be 2 glory. So once you've tallied up all of your glory, you see who has the most glory, and whoever has the most is the winner. Alrighty, so that is Reavers of Midgard, a game with all of this awesome dice and all kinds of colors, so that is fun. So go ahead and leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about this game, or if you have any questions. And if this is a game you think you might like to get, we'll put a link in the description below where you can get this game. And as always, if you want to help us out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tell the world about us! Oh, and of course, we have these awesome new t-shirts have our new logo on it. We'll also have that in the description below for you to get as well. So until next time, thanks for watching.